Shrek came out in 2001, the year I was born, and at release it was the first of its kind. It uses the typical tropes of a fairy tale and dumps them on their head, making the ogre our main character, and the king of the land our villain. The amount of different characters ripped from different fairy tales really adds to its effectiveness as not just a family movie but a modern commentary on Disney and conventional storytelling. As I said, the story starts by introducing us to our main character, a big green, ugly ogre. He lives in a swamp, it's his pride and joy and it's all he's ever known. He lives life how he sees fit, messing with townsfolk and or taking mud baths. All the fairy tale creatures of the land show up at Shrek's house, claiming that they've been moved there to live. Absolutely furious with this, Shrek goes on a journey to Duloc, where the king lives, accompanied by the annoying but also hilarious Donkey, a character that constantly pushes Shrek's buttons and keeps things interesting. Kingdom of Duloc is a rip-off of a Disneyland-styled place reminiscent of Banksy's Dismal Land, a place that fronts as an idealistic destination but has very unpleasant people living there. The soundtrack is amazing, and after a great fight scene with awesome comedy, Lord Farquaad, our antagonist, decides that Shrek will be the one to save the princess. Fiona is expecting a handsome prince, and when Shrek is the one who saves her, she is disgusted that someone like him was handed the quest. The amount of typical fairy tale characters given modern or unexpected twists and quirks masterfully breaks all expected conventions, giving the magic mirror a personality. An amazing adaptation of Pinocchio, the three blind mice, even the gingerbread man, are all so different and refreshingly portrayed. It keeps you hooked and engaged in the story, meaning that even when things are so odd and confusing, they become less so because the characters are so well realized. What DreamWorks set out to do and executed perfectly was weaponize the concept of fairy tales and use it to make Disney look very old-fashioned and behind the times. Having a strong female character instead of the damsel in distress Disney characters we were used to that doesn't need anyone to protect her, and having an ogre that is the hero of our story. These subversions are the core of what makes this film so great and timeless. Avoiding the typical tropes and mastering subversion is truly the core of this movie and is integral to what makes it tick. DreamWorks, the creators of Shrek, pioneered the concept of less serious children's animation with adult themes. A main reason why a lot of people enjoy it is because of how different it is from others in the crowded animation genre. Shrek has always been a meme from its early conception. People at DreamWorks believed that it would fail because of its aggressive subversions, but that was one of the main reasons it was so successful. A cool piece of trivia is that employees of DreamWorks were sent to work on Shrek as a kind of punishment when it was in early development. They called it being Shreked. Some of the early animation mock-ups for Shrek were terrifying. No wonder this film was in development for a while, and thank God the Shrek we have today isn't remotely similar to this guy. DreamWorks were hot on Pixar's heels with their stab at highbrow CGI animation, and ended up pioneering a lot of the techniques that Pixar and others like Illumination and the new reformed DreamWorks still use today. It's truly amazing to think about how much went into our beloved Shrek, and what technological hurdles were jumped to give us the version we came to know and love. To conclude, I think that Shrek being the first Oscar-winning animated movie, and it also being so notorious in meme and pop culture, truly shows how much of a landmark Shrek was and still is. The magic behind the film lies within making fairy tale characters that are so grounded and real. It brings everything together in such a wonderful way. Disney would never be brave enough to take the risks that DreamWorks did. Without Shrek, we wouldn't have movies like Despicable Me, where once again you don't have your typical hero and the tropes are flipped on their head. I am at the very least grateful for the ragtag bunch at DreamWorks in the 90s who stuck it out through development hell to give us the Shrek we know and love today. Without it, we would have missed out on a really valuable story about empathy and not judging people for how they look and who they are. And most importantly, always remembering that there are always going to be new and interesting ways to tell those classic stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and I'll make sure to keep some sort of a schedule moving forward. Also subscribe if you haven't already and you like what I do. But for now, see y'all next time.